find themselves in a country where they don't speak the language, where they don't have any friends or family, where they truly are being held captive, not only physically but also mentally and emotionally being held captive by the people that brought them here to force them into either the sex trade or into forced labor. And so I think that our group thought that it was particularly important in passing a new law that we not just pass a law that said this is a crime, but that we pass a law that was designed to deal with the specific issues that surround human trafficking. And so once we did that and once we recognized that, I think we were able to go to the legislature with a package that all of us could come and support that talked about you know, how we would in a holistic way deal with the crime of human trafficking, but also deal with the issues of the victims. Now, I actually think that still might not have been sufficient to convince the legislators. One of the things I found in this year's legislative session is that it's not often enough to go to your legislature with a good idea and just assume that they will recognize it and pass it. And Susan's been through that. So we wanted to generate some support from the community as well, and we wanted to learn something about how this was working in other areas. And so we focused on our prior relationship with the Attorney General from Chihuahua. We knew that the state of Chihuahua had a year previously passed their human trafficking statute to deal with that. I have mentioned Patricia Gonzalez, and some of you know Patricia, but she is certainly one of my heroes. She is a very powerful and a woman with a good heart who's been the Attorney General of Chihuahua just a little bit longer than I've been the Attorney General here. But she had, in working and trying to combat some of the drug trade and some of the issues on the border, had previously entered into a memorandum of understanding with the Attorney General's office here to train her investigators and to train her lawyers on how to deal with the new trials that they're doing in Mexico. And some of you may be aware that there is a monumental change taking place in the country of Mexico right now, where they're changing their criminal justice system from essentially an inquisitorial-based system to an advocacy-based system of trials. And so our office has been for a number of years now, for 3 years now, training their lawyers and their investigators and their crime like their crime lab people, how to address crimes in a judicial system where you have this interplay and this discussion about the evidence and the quality of the evidence. So I think that's going to make a huge difference in their system. But it has led to a very fruitful relationship between our office and the Attorney General's office in Chihuahua. So one of the things that we thought would be very beneficial would be to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Attorney General's office in Chihuahua to cooperate and to work to develop information that we needed to combat human trafficking. Now, I will say, and I am sorry that I missed this part of the discussion, I gather that there's been some discussion already this morning about the efficacy of a memorandum of understanding between two Attorney General's offices. And it is interesting. I will tell you that from my perspective, there's never been a piece of paper that sprouted arms and legs and went out and actually you know, enforced the law. So from that perspective, it is true that if you have an agreement and you don't have people that are committed to carrying out that agreement and to making something happen under that agreement, that nothing will happen. But in this case, we had some prior experience where we knew that we could effectively fight crime by working together. And in this case, the memorandum of understanding it's not sanctioned by the federal government in the United States. It's not sanctioned by the federal government in Mexico, although certainly our Department of State understood what was going on, and I think have encouraged this interaction with us. And we thank them for that, because they probably don't have to do that. But we think that there are several good things that came of that. For one, we brought Patricia Gonzalez up here, and we had a big press conference, and we signed the MOU, and so it was something that was a physical manifestation of our intention to really step up the law enforcement efforts to deal with human trafficking, and we could show that to the legislature. We thought that it was important to have her here, and we took her to the legislature, and she personally spoke with key legislators and talked to them about their experience in Chihuahua and about what they were doing with regard to combating human trafficking and why it was important that we in New Mexico work with them to combat this particularly heinous crime. And so I think that just the strength of her personality was something that was very important in getting the human trafficking law passed through our legislature in the state of New Mexico.